this morning here on Channels Television, and so we're staying on the issue of especially food inflation and the role that insecurity has contributed to that, which will be a major consideration for the Monetary Policy Committee as they begin their meeting today. And we're having this conversation with the President and Chief Executive Officer, Lead Security Group in New York, is also the CEO of Lead Integrated Security Solutions here in Lagos, Ifeanyi Obinali. Mr. Obinali, good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Great. So we've seen the news, we've heard the numbers of individuals who have lost their lives, livestock that has been affected. And even though these things seem to be different, when we get the inflation number, these are the factors that drive those numbers over time. Would you say the government is doing enough to bring an end to this insecurity that has given us food insecurity in the country?
I mean, the current state of the country today really doesn't say that the government is doing enough. And I think that when we look around what's happening in the country today, I feel like there's a lot the government can do to better the situations of our citizens feeling the brunt of what's happening in the country today. And one of these ways I feel like they can do it is to further build opportunities where we're subsidizing the market for food so that people are able to buy food relatively cheap in the market. Because when there's food shortages, it leads to people looking for various ways to actually feed themselves. The prices of food go up, low-income people are unable to actually live good quality life because they're not able to access these opportunities.
Are you saying that it's the lack of adequate food that's causing the insecurity?
Yes, people want to feed themselves, people want to feed their families. And also when they're hungry, they have to make a decision between food and better health, food and housing, food and education for their families, for their kids, and all of that. So it's an encompassing situation where you have that when there's that challenge of people being hungry and not able to feed themselves, it reflects on the overall economy of the nation. And the government really needs to step in here to actually subsidize this process to help get people to be able to actually take care of themselves, feed better, and go pursue other things that they have to pursue and take care of.
So someone said that poverty is at the root of the insecurity, and the farmer and herdsmen, that poverty is at the root of it. Do you agree with that?
It is true that there's poverty at it. The herdsman issue is also a challenge and all of that. But at the end of the day, if people have enough food in their tank, they're able to go out and pursue better things. But in the absence of that, you see civil unrest, violence, and all of these problems. So yes, poverty has a role to play in this, but at the end of the day, people still also need to be able to relatively get things cheaply so that they're not finding themselves in a place where they have to make a tough decision between how they live their lives and how they deal with social consequences.
So you have a company in the United States, and share with us some tips of how this is done. You talk about, so at least people can get cheap food. I know from stories I've heard that you can go to some places, I think weekends, you can get some things for free. And tell us how, from your understanding of the system, how that's being done that perhaps could help here when it comes to food, affordable and accessible food.
One of the major things that the United States government has is the social welfare program. Now, the social welfare program is a program that says everybody, irrespective of how poor you are, needs to at least be able to get adequate food. So what happens is the poorest of the poor in the United States, they're all on food stamps. And what is food stamps? Food stamp is an opportunity, an amount of money the government gives you every month to be able to feed yourself, to be able to purchase food, to be able to go to the store and pay with that money as against your own money yourself. So the government did this just to subsidize that part of ensuring that people have enough food in their system to be able to move forward. There's also situations where pregnant women have access to as much as they want because they need to be able to have enough nutrients in them to be able to help their unborn babies. So it's a different process, and I think that can be done here in Nigeria as well, where the poorest of the poor can be given access to opportunities like that so that they are able to actually better themselves, live a better life, and not add to the insecurity of the country because they're looking for ways to be able to feed themselves.
Talking about insecurity, they said it's the kinetic and the non-kinetic, and the use of AI and technology. How much do you perceive has been inculcated into Nigeria's security system?
I think Nigeria is still in the traditional fiscal security space. I haven't seen a lot of AI or a lot of technology in a lot of the people I've met, a lot of people I've talked to in the country. I haven't seen a lot of that. And for us in the United States, that's what makes our business excel, because we're blending traditional security with technology. So I think in this country, if we do that, we're able to better address long-term security issues. We're able to better know what's happening ahead, right, in the country, and be able to actually start finding ways to address them before they actually become a major issue.
So do you think it's an intentional thing not to adopt some of those high-tech into the system? Because we've talked about it. I believe we have the skills, or the skills can be acquired.
Yeah.
So why do you think we haven't done it?
Yeah, I don't think it's intentional. It all goes down to the situation in the country. Look at the situation of power supply, for example. A lot of these technological systems and AI tools depend on constant power to be able to work continuously, function properly. But you have a situation where even in our business here in Lagos, our offices in Lekki hasn't seen light for 4 months, right? How do you use technological systems when you don't have constant power supply? And I think that is much more of what the challenge is in this country, that these basic social needs to be addressed. And when they're addressed, then people are able to tap into that to better move themselves. And ultimately, the society will be more safe and secure when they have all of these opportunities. So I don't think it's intentional. I just think it's just we lack the basic services that is needed to run these systems effectively.
So there's also the issue of internet penetration, I believe. That is also a basic foundation for some of this AI and technology that we need. And well, we hear a lot of talks and effort by the government. We wonder how fast, it can be done. Talking about electricity, states are now supposed to be able to generate and distribute and all of that, and that's supposed to bring a change. There's also the renewables coming on board, and some states are adopting that for their facilities in the state. So, well, we hope with conversations going along that line, perhaps we would see more, and then that would be the foundation for, this adoption of technology.
I am hopeful, and that is part of the reasons why we have brought our business also to Nigeria, to be able to incorporate a lot of those opportunities, technologies, and systems that have worked well for us abroad and start bringing them back home here. We know it's going to be a couple of challenges, especially talking about all of these issues that needs to be addressed, but at the end of the day, we're determined to just ensure that we're getting into this space and start attracting these opportunities back home and start looking at the long term, because at the end of the day, we may not get all of this done today, but where are we going to be next year, the year ahead? And that's what the goal of what we're doing is, and also just ensuring that security is given ultimate attention in this country.
Yeah, and I believe, I mean, for individual businesses, you can go the way of renewables. I think a lot of, even though it might increase the operational costs,
right,
obviously, but that could be a way to go.
It is true. So in our business right now, we actually had to go get the solar system, right, for our offices and complement that with, running generators and all of that. But at the end of the day, I totally agree with you that if we start tapping into other sources, right, other sources of maybe power or other sources of opportunities that can help us address security challenges in this country and ultimately help us power businesses, then we have to definitely get involved in that.
And then when you have a picture of some of those northern states, where the food producers are resident, and some of the things that have been happening there, and you hear reports of there was an attack before we even get the news here, by 24 hours or 48 hours. It actually seems like a very long time before we can get, whether it's renewable, even though they have the natural resources, or is the grid power and technology. It seems like a long way before we can get it to people like that or places like that.
Yeah, so that's the work that government really needs to do, right? To start ensuring that we're putting the system that is getting us real-time information, not necessarily when they happen, before they happen, so that government can actually work on trying to disrupt or prevent their happening, but also inform residents and citizens of the area of possibly what they think is happening. So everybody is going to actually pay attention to their surroundings and just ensure that they're protecting themselves. So a lot falls on the government, but I also think that private organizations can also actually get involved in this, and that's a lot of where we are also coming in, because we want to build a hub that helps get real-time information and pass it to the right people on time to help address conflicts or tensions before they happen.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the program. Obviously, the issue of security needs not just the government, but also the private sector. President and Chief Executive Officer of Lead Security Group in New York, U.S., and also CEO, Lead Integrated Security Solutions here in Nigeria. Ifeanyi Obinali, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll see what's happening in the global space. Will Ibong will be here. Please stay with us.